education. 1. To cover a lot of ground, meaning to deal with much information and many facts. Example, the history lecture covered a lot of ground today. 2. To tailor teaching styles and strategies, meaning to make or prepare teaching styles following particular instructions. Example, when faced with classes of students with different levels of ability, teachers should tailor their teaching strategies to deal with this challenge. 3. A high flyer, meaning someone who has the desire and ability to be very successful in their studies. Example, the problem with our teacher is that she explains things too quickly for most of the students, and she pays most attention only to the academic high flyers in the class. 4. Transmission of knowledge, meaning the process of passing knowledge from one person to another. Example, I believe that the transmission of knowledge is more effective in face-to-face interaction with teachers rather than online learning. 5. Interactive learning, meaning refers to a method of teaching and learning in which teachers ask questions in class, assign and check homework, or hold class or group discussions. Example, with or without the aid of technology, interactive learning helps students strengthen problem solving and critical thinking skills. 6. To bombard someone with something, meaning to continually send someone something, especially to inform or influence them. Example, every day it seems as if we are bombarded with email messages, warning of computer viruses. 7. To have a good grasp of something, meaning to understand a problem deeply and completely. Example, children who begin to learn a foreign language in primary school are usually able to have a good grasp of the new language quickly. 8. To make the grade, meaning to successfully reach the necessary standard. Example, nobody can succeed in their studies if they rely on luck rather than hard work to make the grade. 9. Continuous assessment, meaning giving students marks for coursework or projects rather than formal exams. Example, many students prefer continuous assessment because they consider that exams are unfair and too stressful. 10. To be out of one's depth, meaning to be unable to understand something because it is too difficult. Example, streaming in schools enables pupils to study at the level which is appropriate for them, and therefore students rarely find themselves out of their depth. 11. A formal examination, a test conducted under strict, regulated conditions. Example, entrance to university usually involves achieving required grades in a formal examination, such as Ielts 12, to work your way through university, meaning to have a job when you are at college, university, in order to help to pay for your studies. Example, he had to work his way through university because his family was so poor that they could not afford his tuition fees. 13. To take a year out, meaning it is when you have finished your school and you've got a place at the university, but you'd rather spend a year at the school of life, either working, doing some community work, doing something adventurous. Example, taking a year out before starting your degree course can give you a chance to further develop your skills, as well as giving you the opportunity, perhaps, to travel and work in a different country. 14, to sift information, meaning to remove unwanted or less useful information. Example, I had to sift hundreds of pages of information to discover the data that I needed to support my theory. 15, to work or study under supervision, meaning work or study under the direction of a responsible person. Example, at college, I discovered I did not have to work under supervision all the time, and I was free to do independent research. 16, top-tier institutions, meaning leading or prestigious educational institutions. Example, the government has pumped huge amounts of money into a select group of top-tier institutions in recent years. 17, to deliver a lecture, meaning to give a lecture. Example, it is just as easy to deliver a lecture online as it is to give a lecture in front of a class of students in a lecture theater. 18, streaming in schools, meaning the policy of dividing pupils into groups of the same level of ability. Example, one disadvantage of streaming in schools is that children in the lower groups have less motivation to study because they think of themselves as failures. 19, extracurricular activities, meaning not part of the usual coursework or studies in college. Example, most UK universities offer a wide range of extracurricular activities, such as sport, music, and drama, to help students enjoy university life to the full. 20, to fall behind with your studies, meaning to improve more slowly in studying than other people so that you fail to learn the course material at the necessary speed. Example, irregular attendance at class is one of the reasons why some students fall behind with their studies. 21, to drop out of college, meaning to leave college or university without finishing your studies. Example, a number of students drop out of college when faced with the pressure of formal exams. 22, to pay off a student loan, meaning to repay money borrowed in order to study at college or university. Example, owing to the difficulties of paying off a student loan, some young people prefer to look for a job after leaving school. 23, to impose discipline, meaning to make students obey the rules of the school or college. Example, if teachers fail to impose discipline in class, then students will not learn anything. 24, to disrupt lessons, meaning to make it difficult to conduct the lesson in the normal way. Example, if strict discipline is not imposed on pupils who disrupt lessons, then the education of all the children in the school will suffer. 25, distance learning, meaning delivering education to students who are not physically at school or at university. Example, Although she lives in a remote rural area, she is able to study for a degree by distance learning. 26. To give feedback, meaning to give guidance on the work of a student through comments or corrections. Example: it is essential for teachers to give some feedback to students so that students understand their mistakes and can improve. 27. Face-to-face learning, meaning to study in the traditional way in a classroom with fellow students and a teacher. Example: face-to-face learning motivates students and encourages interaction in the classroom. 28. To sit an exam, meaning to take an exam. Example: some students claim that they feel more motivated to study when they have to sit an exam at the end of their course. 29. Tertiary education or higher education, meaning education at college or university level. Example: some school leavers prefer to start work rather than enter tertiary education. 30. A virtual classroom, meaning an online classroom in which participants can communicate and interact with other students, view videos, and actively engage with the study materials. Example: many people argue that the virtual classroom will replace traditional teaching methods, eliminating the need for teachers.